Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Tokyo. My name is T. Here we are again taking another look at a yo-yo I received recently. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Aether. So the shape is kind of just a straight V. Actually, it goes almost exactly up into its V shape. There is this little line that's dug out just before you get to the edge of the rim, and then the rim cut happens here. Then these rims themselves are quite thick, so they give you a lot of nice rim weight. The cup has just some minor cuts right as the rim descends down into the flat cup in here. And then you have this logo which says Aether, and then it says YOYOZHIRIZ and YOYOFFICER down below that. This is a collaboration yo-yo. The material is 6061 aluminum that has been blasted very nicely. This is a very nice, it's sort of like the perfect blast, I think. It's right in the middle between a matte finish and a glossy finish, so it does have that shine that I like to yo-yos, but it's not like totally chalky or anything. It's just a really nice finish. Spectacular for grinds as well. The feel is very nice for a V. I've gone on record many times saying I don't like V shapes that much. This one feels really nice, and I'm wondering if part of that comes from this line that's on the rim here. It has like a nice little feeling of separation before you get to the rim. It kind of softens the edge of that rim somehow. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it's very comfortable for a V. And the look is simple. I mean, it is just a V shape. It's sort of your performance V. I do like that it has this cut on the edge, as I mentioned, and I like that the edges aren't like completely sharp. They're not rounded off like a benchmark V or anything like that, but I feel like it doesn't go out of its way to be uncomfortable. It does feel like a very nice yo-yo in the hand. Anyway, back to the look. This thing just looks really nice, and I like this fade as well. This is, I think, a YOYOFFICER fade because I've seen it on a couple of their other yo-yos as well. But it's this blue on one half and then it's gold on the other, and it's kind of like a nice pale gold. It's very nice to look at. It does look slightly greenish in the camera here. It's not really like that in real life. You'll probably see more of it later when I have some shots of it. But it is a nice fade, and it looks nice, like kind of this baby blue color when it's spinning. The fade isn't perfect. You're gonna see like a couple little blemishes here and there, but it's nothing that affects play. And honestly, like, I kind of like it when stuff has blemishes and stuff like that because it makes it feel like it's, I don't know, a unique one or something like that. I'm not sure. Maybe that's just me. So I got this yo-yo recently from YOYOZHIRIZ. I've already reviewed the other yo-yo I got from them, the Symphony. This was the second one that was in the package, and I didn't really know anything about this before I got it. I'd seen it on Instagram a couple times. Like I've said a million times, Tokyo is not a business. I don't do this to make money. It's my passion. It's just nice when people think of me to send me stuff. But it was really nice to get this because, like I said, I'm not usually a big fan of V-shapes. So as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's cool looking. But in the back of my mind, I was kind of thinking like, yeah, but is it going to play different than V-shapes? So yeah, like going into it, not knowing anything about it was kind of cool because I was able to have a really fresh perspective on it. And like I said, it is a collaboration between YOYOFFICER and YOYOZHIRIZ, so that's pretty cool it's pretty cool to have two companies like that, you know, YOYOZHIRIZ making pretty unique yo-yos, I think, and YOYOFFICER, you know, is really good at making these budget throws that pretty much everybody seems to like. There's very few people I've ever talked to that don't like YOYOFFICER, so yeah, it's kind of a neat little cooperation between these two companies. As for the play, it's actually dead smooth. This thing is crazy smooth. I mean, it's pretty incredible because this is a yo-yo that does not retail for that much money at all, but it is absolutely glass smooth. I've said this before, I know that smooth yo-yos, it's not all about how smooth a yo-yo is, but there's something about a really smooth yo-yo, especially when it's a budget yo-yo that It just makes you feel like, yeah, I made the right choice. Not only did I not have to spend a crazy amount of money, but I also got a yo-yo that is just like really quality controlled. Like I said in our first section, it has a really, really great hand feel. I don't know, it's a pretty typical V shape, but there's something about it that just feels really nice. The proportion of it is really nice. I'm really digging this cut that goes along the rim here. I feel like it somehow like assists the comfort of it or the hand feel or something. Something about it just feels really nice. This yo-yo feels incredibly light, which really surprised me because the weight is right around where you expect most yo-yos to be these days. But something about the way it's balanced just feels extremely light. This is a yo-yo that you can change speeds with very quickly. It's quite maneuverable. But it also doesn't feel so light that it's out of control. I feel like it's kind of has like a nice middle ground. It's not the absolute most stable yo-yo I've ever played with, but it's also not out of control either. And one thing too about performance, you know, when you have a V shape like this that uses the weight very, very evenly and has these nice thick rims, you tend to get a really, really stable yo-yo. And this is very stable too, which I wasn't expecting because I find a lot of V shapes, you kind of can go either way. Some V shapes tend to be really stable and they're a little bit slower, and other V shapes tend to be really quick, but they lose some stability. This hits it right in the center. And the spin time has never been a problem either, and the bearing has always been nice and smooth. So it's nice that this is just like such a reliable, fun yo-yo to play with. Like I mentioned before, the finish on this thing makes it just perfect for grinds, and the shape doesn't hurt either. There's not so much friction on your finger because it's not like ergonomically matching your finger, so you can get your finger in there, and there's some really good grinds on this yo-yo. Finger spins aren't really a thing because of the engraving. It is a flat cup, so maybe the more you wear down this engraving, the better it gets. But at least when I've been throwing them recently, if you've got any sense of a nail or you finger spin on your nail at all, this engraving does stick out quite a bit. You can probably hear how scratchy it is on the nail. Yeah, and that's kind of how it feels on finger spins as well. So if not for that, then I think this would be really good at finger spins because it's actually just a flat cap in there. So maybe once you wear down the engraving a little bit, it's not so bad. The response on this thing is absolutely fantastic. I don't know what pads these are. They're like these dark color. They almost look like black or something. It's pretty... There's a bug on my neck for a long time. Yikes. Did you guys see that? I don't know what kind of pads these are. They're like these dark black pads that look pretty darn cool. But yeah, they just have great response. Really, really, really snappy. They were just a tiny bit snaggy at first, but the more I've played with it and the thinner string you use, they just really, really respond well. Like I mentioned here, you can see just as far as the look goes, there's a few little blemishes with the fade, but I don't think it's a deal breaker at all. I actually really like fade yo-yos. I think fade yo-yos might be one of my favorite styles of colorways. Some people like solids. I like a good splash or a good acid wash, but I don't know, there's something really fun about a fade, and especially how they like change color when you throw them. It's really cool when you have two colors that complement each other really well, so they kind of blend together and make this cool color. A lot of times when you have a fade between two really high contrasting colors, you throw it and it just turns into this gray blob. But the thing I like about fades like this is that it actually, the colors do blend together and make it look really cool and different. It's really fast, as I mentioned, which is not something I expected. Just because, you know, I'm not that experienced with V-shapes. I know they are performance oriented, but I was just taken aback by how fast this thing was right out of the box. It is a comfy V, and I think a lot can be said about a comfy V because that's not really what Vs are made to do. Vs are made to perform, and it's nice when you get a good V-shape that actually performs well and feels nice and is just, you know, a pleasure to play with. It's so smooth. I just love how dead smooth. This one and the Symphony were both extremely smooth right out of the box. I haven't had to do any tuning or anything like that. The bearings have been really nice and quiet. They got loud like once in a while, but it's not anything too crazy. It's definitely not like the one drop 10 ball shriek. I really like the response. As I mentioned, these pads are incredibly snappy and they feel really, really reliable, which is really all you need in a good response. Is just a reliable set of pads that you don't feel like you have to switch out right away. And all the different strings I've used in this have been really good too. The reason I've left this string in so long is because I think the colors complement each other so well. It's like really a perfect match. Yeah, I really don't have any problems with the Aether. I guess some people might complain about the fade. It's not really consistent, as I mentioned. There's a couple spots where there's some little blemishes, but it's honestly like that. You get that with a lot of fades, even like really expensive ones like the Radius and stuff like that. It doesn't matter, you know, the cost of the yo-yo you're getting. Fades tend to be inconsistent. And like, who cares? It doesn't affect play. It still looks awesome when it's spinning. And like I said, I think a little inconsistency or a little blemish is kind of cool because it makes it feel like it's, I don't know, it's mine, and no other ones are like that. In conclusion, I like the Aether. I like it a lot, actually. This one and the Symphony were both really surprising to me. I'd never thrown a YOYOZHIRIZ yo-yo before, and this one is the collab with YOYOFFICER, and I think both of them are really, really fun yo-yos. It's nice to have a V shape that I actually like playing, because usually V shapes are the ones I leave at home. I just don't tend to really like V shapes that much. I feel like the W shape does a lot more and gets the hand feel a little better. That's what's nice about the Aether is, I don't know, this cut really seems to mitigate some of that sharpness that you get with V shapes. And because of that, it feels really nice to hold. It feels really nice on catches. And just generally, this thing really performs well. So it's just a pleasure to play with, and yeah, I really recommend it. Alright, boys and girls, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave me a like, a comment, a subscription. I'd really appreciate it. Take care, have a nice day, and sayonara.